foundation check-in. So think about everything you stand on. Feet, ankles, knees, hips. That's what we're working on today. So we are going to begin with big toe, pinky toe, push, pull, wiggle. So you're gonna get yourself in a seat where you can reach your foot comfortably. It can be here, it can be here, it can be somewhere else, and if you don't know where else and need help, let me know. But you're going to grab your big toe knuckle and your pinky toe knuckle, and you're just gonna kind of shimmy them. Push, pull, wiggle, whatever you wanna call it. But we're trying to get more movement in there. So once you feel like you've done both sides and they have sufficiently improved their movement, there's no set number of reps that I can tell you to do. It's gonna be different based on each foot. It's gonna be different based on each person. So just go by what you feel and pay attention to what you feel. So once that's been wiggled out, you're gonna go to the long arch of your foot. So like your inner arch right here. About halfway up your foot, you have a joint right here where all of your little toes connect and like that's part of the arch. You're gonna poke your thumb in there and then grab your big toe knuckle again. But with this one, I kind of like putting my thumb under my big toe knuckle, so below it, and then wrapping my hand around, so I'm kind of like hugging my foot. So poking that joint, pulling my big toe away from it, kind of wiggling. You're trying to get more glide in that bone, because when you walk, this first metatarsal glides forward, then there's a ligament that comes through with a little bone in it, and it fills in that gap when you're walking. If you have bunions or something like that from wearing poor shoes or whatever, it's not going to be gliding. So you got to work on that and kind of like smush it into the center and then pull it, just like feel it out, see what feels better for it, right? So we've worked on the toe side of our foot. Now we're going to work on the heel side of our foot. So think about crossing your leg over and having your foot be like as floopy as it can be, right? Like you don't want to have it flexed up because then this next thing won't really work. And you're going to pinch the back of your heel and just pull it down. So you're trying to get this part of your leg longer. And breathe. This is not like a comfortable thing for me, especially on this side because of stuff I've put my body through. But as long as you remember to breathe when things get hard or when it's challenging or when you start to have like feelings like, oh, I don't want to do this, it can actually help your body make a new pattern with that movement. So instead of having like the fear and pain response, over time you can actually retrain that to being like, oh, it's fine. This is what it does. So keep breathing while you're doing it. And once you have felt like, it's not even necessarily going to feel like anything. Some people might feel a stretch, but once you feel like a little bit better, like you can move your ankle a little better, we're going to move on to funny walks. So we're going to have you start going onto the inner arch of your foot. So you're going to actively roll your feet towards the center line. Pinky toes might lift up. They may not move at all. And I highly recommend doing this one barefoot if you feel comfortable with that, because shoes are designed to keep your foot in a certain position, and these don't really work that well with shoes on. So rolling onto the insides of your ankle, building more capacity for that position. And then walk backwards. Try to keep your heart lifted the whole time. So you can totally watch where you're walking and try and make it as smooth as possible. Once you've walked on the inner arch, we're going to, boom, flip it and walk on the outer arch. So you're on your pinky toe side of your foot now, walking out there. These are really good for people who have also had lots of ankle rolls, right? Because once you've rolled your ankle in a certain way, it is more prone to going to that direction. But if you train it in all different ways and build a higher threshold and higher capacity in the tissue around it, you're less likely to have a repeat injury because your body will be able to adapt, because your foot is now mobile, right? And that's what's allowing us to do these ankle ones. And if your ankle can move a little bit better, it's also going to trickle up to your knees and hips. So once you've done the inside and the outside, now we're going to imagine that we have little tree frog toes and suction cup them to the ground, not scrunch, just push down, and slowly peel our heels up, and then you're going to walk there. And try to walk like as normal as you can without letting your heels drop. And the final one is, you probably guessed it, heel walk. So we walked on the insides, outsides, toes, and now we're going to do heels. The trick with this one though, a lot of people tend to curl their toes up and then lever up. I want you to try and think about softening your knees, making sure your butt and ribs are nice and in line vertically, and lifting your heart up, and then levering back your whole foot. So it's not just your toes lifting up, it's your whole foot. From there, also I just did something that I want to point out. When that happens, we tend to do this to kind of counterbalance it. So scoop everything under, lift up, and then you're going to walk. And these are probably one of the harder ones of this. So just pay attention to what you feel. Your legs may not be even. I can feel a difference in mine, and that's okay. I've had surgery on one side and not on the other side. So just do your best to try and make it feel even. And then, once our toes have been sufficiently warmed up and our ankles, we're gonna work on our knees. And you might need a towel for this one. I'm gonna show you body weight first, and then I'll show you how to use a towel if you need it. But you're going to bring your knee up towards your chest and try and sit up tall. So if you need to elevate your butt so that way you can actually get to a tall position, do it. That's the whole point, right? We wanna try and get your femur shrugging down into hip socket. So like the upper nubbin of your femur needs to go into the little cup of your hip joint. And that's what's going to help keep that nice and solid and the whole chain down the line. So with your femur in its hip socket, I'm gonna take my left arm, wrap it around the outside of my left knee, and wrap my hand on the inside of my left foot. So I'm going to use my left arm to pull out away from the center of my body as I rotate my lower leg in towards the center of my body. And this isn't gonna look like a ton on camera, so just remember, you're creating your own tension here. You're trying to slowly build a new pattern of being able to rotate your shin a little better. And that rotation of your shin is gonna help protect your knees because life needs knee rotation if you can have it. So once you've done enough there to have it feel like a lot more natural and feel more awareness overall, then you'll do both sides there. And when you're ready, going back to that left leg that I started with, you're going to now take your right hand around the outer part of your left foot. My right hand is gonna pull my leg towards the center, and my foot is gonna try and rotate out away from the hand. So again, you're just creating that resistance yourself. Super important to do the foot and ankle stuff before we do this because it gets your foot into a better starting position. And if your foot's like this all the time and then you try and rotate, it's just gonna reinforce the patterns that you already have. So creating tension with my arm, swooping my foot out away, trying to work on external shin rotation, relax. And then other side, swoop away and relax. Pay attention to what you feel. Keep breathing. Again, like we were talking about earlier, you can kind of like make a new agreement with yourself if you breathe deep during the hard parts, during the challenging parts. You can tell your body that you're okay, it's just challenging and we can get better at it. It sounds woo, but just please try it. So from there, if you want to use a towel if that position is too much, you just get yourself set up, and instead of having your hand wrap over the side, you just hold a towel and create that same resistance for inside and outside. You can also use a yoga strap. Doesn't matter what you use, but you can use a tool. Finally, we are going to work on our hips now. So after that leg rotation, we're going to try and see what's going on in our hips first. So you're going to start by standing with your feet about hip width apart, super, super tall torso, and then think about squeezing your biceps in towards your center line and then inhaling to lever them up. So you're getting in an upright position. This is the best I got today. So you're trying to be really, really long and tall. And then you're gonna stare at something off into the distance and slowly peel one heel up, let it back down, other heel up, and let it back down. So what's common with this is we kind of drop to the side and kind of wiggle. So that thing in the distance shouldn't be moving at all. When you're doing it, nice tall body, lift up, back down, and lift up. So what does this have to do with hips? All of us, maybe not all, most of us do this when we stand. Most people don't stand up tall, nice and supported all the time, or we get tired so we pop our hip out. When our body gets used to that hip pop, we lose some of the ability to scoop up and in and stand up tall through our pelvic floor and hips. So that's what we're working on there. You're trying not to shift side to side. It's gonna demand a lot of your inner line right here, so that arch that we worked on wiggling earlier is where it starts. You grow your awareness from your inner arch all the way up through your inner thighs. That calf rotation that we were doing helps make sure that your lower leg is in the right position now that you've actually set a better foundation for yourself. So it's all new things. And if that hip thing was kind of fun for you and you want a little bit more, then we're gonna have you try and do a hip circle. So these can be lying or standing. I'm gonna show you standing since I'm here. And think about standing up really, really tall. You're going to use your abs, so not just like lifting from your leg. Think about this whole part of your body lifting up, this part going back down, and you're going to try and draw a circle from your hip. So, from your hip, right? So you're opening out to the side, bringing it back down, around, and then up. You want to try and make this as smooth as you possibly can without torquing, not twerking, on that knee. You twerk on your own time. So opening up, out to the side, and really be mindful of this, right? So like as you open up, you actually have these little horizontal butt muscles that you're now shortening as you open, rotating around through all these hip muscles, and then bringing it forward with your lower belly muscles, right? Open, rotate, close, and around. So that's a bonus one. If you want, just stick with the overhead peel. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Let me know if you need any help with getting into the position yourself. And good luck with your new strong foundation. It takes time to build. Keep breathing, and proud of you.